to the Rich Report, a podcast with news and information on the world of cloud computing. Today, my guest is from Interxion. We have JF. He's the Global Marketing Manager for the cloud segment at the company. So, JF, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rich. It's good to be back. Today I'm going to tell about hybrid clouds, the use case, how enterprise and system integrators can use the Interxion Test Lab and accelerate the development and the use of startup costs of the hybrid cloud deployments. Now, before we kick off, I want to provide a short introduction to Interxion. Interxion was founded in 1999 in the Netherlands. We have our headquarters near Amsterdam, and we are the leading carrier-neutral data center provider in Europe. We own and operate 29 data centers in 11 countries. And carrier-neutral to us means that we don't compete with our customers. Customers are connectivity providers, system integrators, service providers, financial institutions. We consider our core business to be to manage and enable our ecosystem of over 1,200 customers and connect them to the right type of connectivity, cloud, and our application. And we have over 400 carriers and host 18 internet exchanges in our data centers. Now we are continuously growing our footprint, and as you can see, we are investing heavy in our key markets in London, Paris, Frankfurt, and Amsterdam to secure the growth for our customers. But that's not the only way we show commitment to our customers. As you know, we have the Olympics coming up in London. For us, this is a very big event, and we had to come up with a way to secure customer experience. And that's why our engineers will sleep in these spots, not only to dodge Olympic traffic, but to be on site 24/7 and keep the clouds in the air. And this way we can secure that more than 12 petabytes of traffic will reach the viewers at home. Now, having that said about Interxion, in this slide cast, I want to address three subjects. First, our vision on the state of the cloud. Second, the use case for hybrid clouds. And finally, we come to our cloud test labs, a free proof of concept environment to try before you build a cloud platform. Now, when I look at the market, I see we live in a world of many clouds. We use a lot of different applications on our laptops and smartphones, but most enterprises still approach cloud in silos. And many applications are vertically integrated on their own clouds, and enterprises need to migrate to the cloud and do that based on the shift of CAPEX to OPEX. There is no integrated solution, and there is no enterprise class SLA. They just take it one cloud at a time. And there are new clouds popping up every month, and the question is, how much cloud do we need? Now, in the next few years, we will witness the rise of hybrid clouds. We will go from a world of many clouds to a few cloud of clouds. And that's what hybrid is. It's a combination of public and private clouds, and some combinations will be dominant in the market. Now, enterprises that seek the true benefits of cloud computing, like scalability, lower TCO, flexibility, but they still struggle to get there. And that's no surprise. We expect, however, that the whole IT industry will be back to business as usual within 5 years. And cloud services will have an enterprise class SLA, but under the hood, we will have a different engine. Now let's get into that one step deeper and take a look under the hood in the data center. The carrier-neutral data center will be the place for clouds to connect directly and host the on and off ramps to the cloud of clouds. And to support these hybrid environments, it's essential to provide the right type of connectivity for users to connect and ensure SLAs for enterprises and service providers. Now, that connectivity will most likely not be the internet. The carrier-neutral data center will be the place for clouds to connect directly and host the on and off ramps to the cloud. Now, the problem with the internet is that it has no SLAs, and organizations have concerns about being exposed to the vagaries of the internet, lack of enterprise class SLAs, and like I said earlier, enterprise approach cloud in silos, no interoperability, and IT departments are continuously under pressure to deliver a comprehensive cloud strategy. So there are only a few options today to concrete quality of service when accessing public clouds. Now, one of these examples is Amazon's Direct Connect. Now, to support the hybrid cloud infrastructure, it's essential to provide the right type of connectivity for end users to get access to their applications and information, and ensure that service level agreements for enterprises and service providers. So, when should enterprises use hybrid clouds? Now, like I said, hybrid clouds most likely will bypass the internet and deliver data to and from the cloud via a private network connection. So, what are the use cases? One of the use cases is working with large data sets or big data, where the transfer of business critical data from the data center or the office or a co-location environment into and from public and private clouds to be analyzed and to be used for commercial use. Another application is real-time data feeds, for example, with virtual desktops or collaboration applications. They perform best when network latency remains constant. Now, distributed applications in a hybrid environment means that different sources of data or the application can be on different locations and in different clouds. And specifically when it's about regulatory requirements for that information, specifically because the European market is very strict on those data regulations, you need to build a hybrid environment to fully utilize that application. And the final example is, for example, bursting, when today we see with gaming companies. The first months of a game are very critical and important, and what we see is that they start off building a game on a public cloud platform, and when they know the constant load of that game, they move that load towards a private cloud and then use the public cloud for bursting. Now, moving beyond the basic infrastructure as a service, what are the key components to an enterprise cloud infrastructure? Well, first of all, orchestration. That's a no-brainer. It's to gain productivity and save costs and improve your operations. Of course, security, identity and authorization. Who is using what? We mentioned the SLA before. And of course, it's important to assign the right cost to the right entity within your organization. Now, how does that fit into infrastructure as a service? Well, that's why we developed the Cloud Test Lab. So, the Cloud Test Lab enables enterprises, hosting companies, and system integrators to test the cloud environment before deciding to deploy. So what is the Test Lab? The Test Lab, we call it a free proof of concept environment, and you can use it for a limited period of time. It runs on a reference architecture, and it allows you to create a private or a public cloud offering and a service that you use internally or as a service provider to your customers. Now, currently, we operate 3 cloud test labs within our data center footprint, one with Microsoft, HP, and KPN in Amsterdam, one with Flexion, GTT, Boston, and Supermicro in London, and we recently announced the Eucalyptus test lab with Arista and Atrato in our Frankfurt data center in Germany. Now, let me start with telling you a little bit about Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus was an obvious choice for us to deploy the next test lab, as one of our partners in the US called CoreSite already launched a test lab with Eucalyptus, and today it's one of the most widely deployed private cloud platforms. It's compatible with AWS, so that is very critical to enable a hybrid cloud infrastructure. Now, what can you do with the Eucalyptus Cloud Test Lab? Well, obviously, there are a lot of features that concentrate around the virtual cloud resources, compute, network, storage, next to the management of the identity and the authentication, and of course, orchestration. Orchestration is very important for being a service provider or an IT department that wants to provide its IT within the organization as a service. There's the core centralized management that enables the self-service of on-demand and elastic compute, IP, and storage. But most of all, it provides a user experience. The Cloud Test Lab lets you see what it means to manage and operate a cloud environment. Second to that, it's a proof of concept in a highly connected data center, which provides a very realistic situation and test results. Now, in short, the benefits for using the Cloud Test Lab is that it shortens your time to market. It's free of charge for the test period, so it helps you reduce startup costs. It's highly connected, which improves and results in more realistic test results. Because you can instantly deploy it afterwards, it accelerates your delivery to the market, and it's easy access to a reference architecture so you can focus on your own service development. Now, how to get started. And this brings us to the end and where I want to close. You can get started. Test Lab is free for a limited period to use. It's a perfect way to start, very small, build your own use case and experiment before you deploy your cloud. How can you sign on? Just send us an email with your name, position, company, and phone number to cloud@interxion.com.
Well, thanks for that,
Thank you.
JF. Yeah, thank you for that presentation. So, a couple questions here. When someone brings up a testing environment, are you testing more than just load? Are you testing different kinds of conditions, or that kind of thing?
Well, basically, we see two kinds of usage. The first one is more the product development kind of way, where enterprises and system integrators and hosting companies use it to build a catalog, to build their portfolio, and to see how it works to run that portfolio that they want to offer to their end users. The second use of the test lab is the pure proof of concept environment. So that means that testing it from very different angles, whether it's the load or whether it's the usage, the monitoring, how workflows run, a wide variety of testing scenarios that a company can use the test lab for.
Well, great. And kind of a wrap up here, Jeff. I wanted to ask you about the public sector. We just did a story about Neelie Kroes talking about the European agenda, the digital agenda. Is the public sector able to use this kind of test lab environment to see where it fits for their purposes?
Yes, absolutely. Although I think that the most important reason why they should use it is because it's an open source product. And what we see in Europe is that public sector approaches cloud differently than they do in the US. The driver here in Europe is not as much um, using the cloud because they're very afraid of regulatory rules for privacy sensitive information. But it's an open source product, and the benefits of that really apply to the public sector.
Well, terrific. Well, JF, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show today.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
All right. That's it for the Rich Report, folks. Stay tuned for more news and information on the world of cloud computing.